Hello, I'm Hilary Bantel. You are watching What's My Story? Tonight, I'm joined by reclusive internet billionaire Mark Taps, creator of social media giant Asschat. In an exclusive interview, he would tell us of his astonishing rise from humble beginnings. Good evening, Mark. Thank you so much for joining us tonight and bringing along your family photos. First of all, Mark, can you tell the viewers where you're from?
I'm from Ditchville, Hog Hollow, in the fine county of Swamp Gulch in the finer state of Tennessee.
I can't say that I've ever heard of it.
No, ma'am. It was so small we was overlooked by the map people.
They must be proud of you back home in Ditchville.
Well, it was washed clear away in the great flood of 17. There ain't a stick of Ditchville or Hog Hollow left.
You were from a poor family?
Rightly so, ma'am. We was so poor the mice would bring us cheese. My mother, bless her soul, she would boil mud and then make a sucking sound like a percolator and tell us all she'd made us coffee. It tasted terrible, but we drank it anyway.
Wow, what a good son you were.
Well, and then there was our house. I know it don't look like much, but to us it was home.
How many lived there?
I ain't rightly sure. There were grand folk. Sometimes my ma said I had 17 brothers and sisters. Other times there were 18. I think she lost count after number 12. Then there were the elder sister's kids. Mary Lou was starting a fine brood all of her own. We might have been 30 all told.
That's ridiculous. It's barely big enough for two. You can't have all lived there.
Well, ma'am, I'm telling you the God's honest truth. When it rained, the drains overflowed and ran right through our living room.
Gosh, that sounds unhealthy.
Well, that's how Doc Kildare reckons I got the swamp ague.
Sorry, I'm confused. Your physician was a fictional TV doctor from the 1960s.
But I don't know nothing about no fictional TV doctors of the 1960s. All I know is good old Doc Kildare. He took one look at me and he launches into this anti-Yankee tirade. Because he can't cure me because those damn Yankee drug companies make medicine to only treat northern diseases.
Are you saying you got a disease specific to the southern states?
I sure am, Hillary. Why, I bet y'all never even heard of swamp ague.
You are correct there, Mr. Taps. I have not.
What about swinolitis? Or the Southern Baptist pox? I mean, surely you must have heard of levee fever. There was no remedy for the swamp ague, so I came out in the acne.
Well, acne isn't unique to the South. We've got plenty of pimples up north.
I said acne. I came out in knees all over my body. I grew knees where there shouldn't have been any. That's why I developed Asschat. When you got acne, you can't talk to normal folk. They just stare at my disability, so I went online.
That's amazing.
Well, online I made friends who were supportive through my crippling disease. I'll bet you forget how primitive computers were back then. Why, when you was happy, you had to type in smiley face. Until I invented the smiley face emoji, of course.
Except you did not invent the smiley face emoji.
Well, I can't keep track of all my various wonderful inventions, ma'am. Why, it became my mission to open social media for all. People who are awkward and will never get their own prom date.
Isn't it true your site is also the home of racists, sexist bigots, homophobes, and pedophiles?
I can't be held responsible for everyone on Asschat, Hillary. I just wish it was around when I was young, because I wasn't such a confident child. I'd do anything to please my family. My papa, he was a violent man, so I'd let him punch me around.
That's terrible.
Well, it was the only way I could get his attention. It weren't so bad, because he were mostly drunk and missed.
Didn't your mom try and stop him?
My mother, bless her soul, was an alcoholic. So, to please her, I built her a still to brew moonshine. My Uncle Heinrich was the hardest to please, 'cause he was a Nazi. So I learned German, dressed up as Hitler, and read him speeches.
That's enough of Uncle Heinrich.
Dear old Papa. He kept Hog Hollow honeybees. They were more intelligent than ordinary honeybees. Pa was getting always these visionary business ideas. I guess that's where I got it from. Why, he once trained up his bees to buzz Colonel Bogey. We went to the state fair and Louis did. It was a splendid day. Everyone was all dressed up real fine. Even my gran and grandpa were there.
Are they your grandparents?
On my mother's side. Anyway, we went in our Sunday best and Papa proudly presented his buzzing bees, only to be arrested. You see, he didn't know there was a bylaw forbidding trained Hog Hollow honeybees performing in the confines of Louis did. That was the first time he got the electric chair.
Your father was electrocuted for training honeybees?
The law was harsh back then, ma'am. But luckily, Pa has a great resilience to electrocution, and it just didn't take. They had to let him go. So, he became a hog wrestler. Then he was arrested at the Swamp Gulch Farmers Market for pig wrestling on a Sunday. Altogether, I think Pop was executed 14 times, but they could never make it stick.
Can I ask what happened to your ailment?
Doc Kildare. He was a frequent visitor with all the treatment to Mary Lou needed for her chest and Billy Bob being shot on a regular basis.
Your brother was shot?
Only during hunting season. Other times he was mostly all right. You see, he had wild, curly hair, and hunters were mistaken for an elk. Sometimes he'd be shot 2 or 3 times a week.
Why didn't your mom just cut his hair?
'Cause we was so poor. She would only cut our hair once a year when it was good and long, so she could weave it into toupees for bald dogs and sell it off to rich folk. Besides, Doc would fix him up good. It was during one of his visits to massage Mary Lou's chest and patch up Billy Bob that Doc had his brainwave. He was way ahead of his time and figured the native Indians must have dealt with swamp ague. So, he took me off to the reservation.
Wow, sounds like an adventure.
Sure enough, they had a cure, but it were mighty tough. First, I had to drink a foul concoction of herbs. Then I was bitten on the knee by a rattlesnake and put in a sweat lodge. I was delirious for days. Doc was busy treating Mary Lou, but he came by every now and then. On the 3rd day, I was cured and the lodge was full of knees that I'd sweated clean off.
And what about Mary Lou's chest?
Doc said with that sort of chest, it could be touch and go. He didn't want to take no chances, so he was treating her pretty much full time.
How did you realize your dream for social media, Mr. Taps?
I went into the bank in Hog Hollow, but the manager, you see, he just didn't get it. He said, if you want to talk to people, use the phone. We lend money for tractors, not airy-fairy nonsense. I guess he looks the fool now.
Right, so how did you do it without the bank's help?
Well, hard work, ma'am, and the help of all those good folk on the internet.
Isn't it true that you had access to venture capital startup loans?
No, ma'am.
Isn't it true that what you've told my viewers is all lies?
No, ma'am. It's all the God's honest truth. Why, look it up on the internet.
I'm a journalist and not fooled by fake postings on the web.
Why are you doing this to me, Hillary? I'm the most honest, hard-working guy alive. I dragged myself up from the gutter and now you're accusing me of being a liar. It's an outrage.
Honest?
I have never told a lie in my entire life.
You weren't born in the gutter. You had a life with a silver spoon in your mouth.
Well, for all I've been through, ma'am, why are you being so horrible to me?
Because you're lying and you're trying to deceive the great people of America. And I will not have it.
I have never told a lie in my entire life.
Isn't it true that you've adopted this persona to appear more interesting than you really are?
That ain't true.
Who do you think you're fooling with this routine, Mark?
No, ma'am,
You have lied. Everything you've said belongs up your ass, Chad.
that ain't true. I'm a hillbilly from a hick town who made it good, and you don't like that.
Apologize to the viewers, Mark. Apologize. That's all. Take care.